Set on top of the most visible hill of Istanbul, Topkapi Palace is the symbol of the city. Opulent, decadent, and steeped in history, it offers visitors a chance to get to know the sultans of the Ottoman Empire rather more intimately. It was built in 1461 by Mehmet the Conqueror and remained both the symbolic and political home of the Ottoman Empire until Sultan Abdülmecid I moved the imperial retinue to Dolmabahce Palace in 1853. During the 4 centuries in between, it hosted 22 different sultans and their families. Topkapi Palace is likely to have more colorful stories than most of the world's museums put together. Libidinous sultans, ambitious courtiers, beautiful concubines, and scheming eunuchs lived and worked here between the 15th and 19th centuries when it was the court of the Ottoman Empire. A visit to the palace's opulent pavilions, jewel-filled treasury, and sprawling harem gives a fascinating glimpse into their lives. Mehmet the Conqueror built the first stage of the palace shortly after the conquest in 1453 and lived here until his death in 1481. Subsequent sultans lived in this rarefied environment until the 19th century when they moved to the ostentatious European style palaces they built on the shores of the Bosphorus. After the end of the Ottoman Empire in 1923, a government decree dated April 3, 1924, transformed Topkapi into a museum. The palace complex has hundreds of rooms and chambers, but only the most important are accessible to the public as of 2020, including the Ottoman Imperial Harem and the Treasury, where the spoonmaker's diamond and the Topkapi dagger are on display. The museum collection also includes Ottoman clothing, weapon, armor, miniatures, religious relics, and illuminated manuscripts such as the Topkapi manuscript. Officials of the ministry as well as armed guards of the Turkish military guard the complex. The Topkapi Palace forms a part of the historic areas of Istanbul, a group of sites in Istanbul that UNESCO recognizes as World Heritage Site since 1985. Mehmet's original layout, which consisted of 4 consecutive courtyards surrounded by high walls, remains. Each courtyard served a different purpose and was separated by a gate that incrementally restricted entry, culminating in the most private 3rd and 4th courtyards. The first courtyard is the largest and only public courtyard. During the reign of the Ottoman Empire, any unarmed person could enter through the Imperial Gate. The courtyard's open space made it ideal for ceremonies and processions, and it was likely the most bustling of the palace's squares. The gate of salutation leads to the second courtyard, also called Divan Square, which was the administrative center of the palace. Only official visitors and members of the court could enter the space. Council members met several times a week to discuss state affairs in the domed chamber, sometimes called Council Hall. The Grand Vizier led state meetings, and the Sultan sometimes listened in through a grilled window from a small room within the adjacent Tower of Justice, the palace's tallest structure. The second courtyard was also home to the palace kitchens and confectionaries, which now display the imperial porcelain collection as well as the external treasury, which exhibits the imperial weapons. The canopied gate of felicity leads to the third courtyard or the innermost courtyard, which housed the private residence of the Sultan and the inner palace school. Only the Sultan, members of his family, his servants, and the occasional approved visitor could enter. Visitors to the Sultan could only go so far as the audience chamber and were expected to follow strict customs. They could not make eye contact or speak directly to the Sultan, but instead would lower their heads, cast their eyes downward, and speak to the Sultan's translator.
بچی دل به دلی و بند دل ما بچی دل به دلی و بند دل ما قسم که یاری با وفای توی ما قسم که یاری با وفای توی ما نفس جو عاشق و شهیدای توی ما خریداری ناز و ادای توی ما خریداری ناز و
The third courtyard extends to the fourth courtyard, which consists primarily of terraced gardens and pavilions. It is home to the lushly decorated circumcision chamber, the Baghdad Pavilion, and the Yerevan Pavilion. One of the most distinct structures of the fourth courtyard is the quaint gilt bronze iftar pergola, where sultans would break their fast if Ramadan fell in the summer. Many of the Ottoman sultans had an interest in flowers and gardening, and the fourth courtyard gardens are filled with tulips, just as they would have been during the Ottomans' reign.
کبابی سرخی لب‌های توی ما کبابی سرخی لب‌های توی ما نفس شو عاشق و شهیدای توی ما خریداری ناز و ادای توی ما خریداری ناز و سراسی و مدهوشی تو بودم، سراسی و مدهوشی تو بودم. تو شادخت بودی و با شان و شوکت وی غلامی حلقه در گوشی تو بودم، غلامی حلقه در گوشی تو بودم. شدم غرق خیالت باز دوباره، وی بجا صبر و تحمل نیست و چاره، بجا صبر و تحمل نیست و چاره. بدیدم چهره اد را در خیالم، وی رخت ماه بود و چشمانت ستاره، رخت ماه بود و چشمانت ستاره. شدم محوی جمالت در خیالم، ویزی سازی عشق بنالم یا ننالم، زی سازی عشق بنالم یا ننالم. ها نهادم سر به بالش در شبی تار، وی تو را در خواب و دیدم خوش بهار،